around the world, the chance to experience real magic and the awfully big adventure that comes with a trip to one of the famous mouse's houses is exactly what dreams are made of. So join us as we explore the endless possibilities of that great big beautiful world of Disney as we travel to the magic.
Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Travel to the Magic here on another Disney podcast. It's Tom from Fly Mickey Travel talking to you about our favourite topic, that is, of course, Disney. And this week's episode is specifically aimed at school teachers, leaders of groups like youth choirs, scouts and girl guides, and basically anybody who runs a large group activity who would like to get a little bit of magic for their members. Now, for those of you that have been to Disneyland Paris in France, you'll know that magic awaits you at every twist and turn and at every corner of the two parks and, of course, in the Disney Village as well. And for those of you that have not been to DLP yet, don't worry, because those fantastical stories that we know from the Disney brand are what awaits you beyond the gates of magic. But what you probably didn't know is that there is a totally unique experience to be had behind the scenes. For example, if you're a teacher looking for a magical way to educate your students, a choir leader looking for somewhere for your choristers to express their vocal talents, or a scout group looking for a unique way to earn a new badge, then Disneyland Paris's performing arts program may just be what you've been looking for. And while no doubt some of you out there may be thinking that a Disney park is no place for your educational needs, when it comes to planning a destination for your performing arts trip, there is simply nowhere more theatrical than Disneyland Paris. After all, it is the home of those cleverly conceived character meet and greets, countless Broadway and West End caliber-style theatre shows, and crowd-pleasing parades and cavalcades below that iconic Chateau de la Belle au Bois de Monte, or Sleeping Beauty's castle for those that don't speak French. And ironically, I'm one of those. I'm reading that bit off a script. But for a lot of people, going to a Disney park is all about the attractions and the rides that you can go on. They don't really think about the educational part of a trip to a Disney destination. But in fact, Walt instilled in everything that is Disney a sense of storytelling and a moral that we can all learn by. And this is experienced in everything that happens at Disneyland Paris and at Walt Disney World, Disneyland Resort in California, the 3 Asia Disney parks, aboard the Disney cruise ships, Alani in Hawaii, and also in those wonderful adventures by Disney. So it's not really that far-fetched an idea for Disney to be offering educational workshops within the Disney parks. So let's first look at mastering what it takes to be magical at Disneyland Paris with a Disney Performing Arts Workshop. As we know, Disney is an internationally recognised company at the forefront of entertainment, and their Performing Arts Workshops offers students and participating groups a once-in-a-lifetime experience to become a Disney performer for the day, a fantastic chance to develop their own personal performance skills. The workshops are designed to focus on performance development, giving each participant the opportunity to reach for the stars by taking part in interactive sessions led by Disney professionals. Now, these workshops are completely tailored to the age and the ability of the participating group. So there's no one set kind of activity and that's what you've got to do. Disney will completely tailor your workshops to what you're hoping to get out of the experience. Plus, unlike the Disney Performing Arts on Stage option, which we'll talk about that in just a moment or two, the Disney Performing Arts Workshops program has no audition process, but each workshop that is tailored for you does come with a charge, and that will be based on how many participants are taking part. Now, obviously, it should be taken for granted that this is a performing arts event and therefore there won't be any sports-related activities or science experiments happening, but there will be an awful lot of dance, a lot of instruments being used, a lot of vocal activities, and of course a lot of musical theatre as well, all drawing inspiration from the shows and magic that's happening in the Disney park at that time. Hence why they say these workshops allow you to be a Disney performer for the day. And there actually used to be a workshop, an activity you could get involved with that would really make you a Disney performer for the day. But unfortunately, I don't think this activity is currently available, nor may it be returning anytime soon due to the COVID-19 restrictions that are currently in place around the park. Obviously, the nighttime spectacular isn't happening, and the traditional daytime parade is also currently off. It's been swapped for a cavalcade that randomly appears throughout the day to try and avoid big crowds from amassing. But there used to be an activity that you could take part in, a workshop that would teach you a set routine that your group could do that would then appear at the beginning of that day's parade. You would appear ahead of the floats and ahead of the main mouse himself. How cool must that have been for you and your group to be involved with? Not only do you get to work with these fantastic Disney performing arts experts, but also you get to perform your routines that you've been learning in front of thousands and thousands of adoring DLP fans. Like I say, I'm pretty sure that activity is no longer available, and I'm not sure if they'll be returning it to the park's experiences anytime soon. But if you do happen to like to be in the limelight and you fancy treading the boards of the famous stages within the Disneyland parks, then there is an alternative program you can get involved with that can also work alongside the workshops too. But this does require you to audition to Disney, a bit like maybe going for the X Factor. It's not as simple as paying a fee and on you go. No. They're going to make you work to perform on a Disney stage. But don't let that sound too daunting. In fact, thousands and thousands of amateur groups every single year get to take part in these performing arts on stage activities at DLP. And you could be doing this as well. The Disney Performing Arts program is open to amateur performers from the age of 6 and over, and there is no upper age limit as well. So if you happen to be, let's say, a 65 plus tap dancing troupe and you fancy performing on the stages of the Disneyland Paris parks, then this is a great opportunity for you. Or maybe you're a school or a community-based choir group who really wants to gain a glimpse into the Disney professional world of entertainment, then your instrumental group, your choral choir, your dance troupe, or your marching band can all audition for this program. But what is involved in getting involved with this opportunity? Well, all groups, including those that have done this before, if you have gone through the audition process before and have performed, you have to go through it all again, and that means submitting your application at least 12 weeks and no more than 1 year prior to your preferred performing date. And if you want to go between July and October of any given year, you need to make sure your application is in at least 4 months earlier than maybe any other month of the year. This is purely to do with demand. Your group must contain at least 20 people, with a minimum of 10 of them being performers, and you should be prepared to perform for a 20-minute solid set. So the first step then is to complete your application form and then get ready to make an audition tape that is non-returnable, by the way. So don't put it on your most expensive pen drive. Just buy a cheap one from your local supermarket. Just make sure it works, obviously. And it will need to contain 2 complete pieces for each discipline that appears in your performance. So, for example, if you do have tap dancers and vocalists, you will need to complete 2 pieces of content for each one of those disciplines. 4 pieces in total that are no shorter than 3 minutes long, and they must feature at least 90% of the performers that are indicated on your application form. If your audition features too many or too few performers, they will ask you to do a new audition tape. And of course, if you were to turn up with a completely different group of people that were not in the original audition tape, it is highly unlikely they will let you step beyond the curtain. So whoever you caught on camera for the audition tape is going on the trip, or at least 90% of them. Also, as all soloists will be given a microphone, Disney require you to complete 1 audition piece for each one of those soloists, whether it's a vocalist or an instrumentalist. They will need to perform a no shorter than 3 minute long audition themselves to be included in with the application audition tape. If you do, however, want to include additional soloists after your application has been submitted, you can do this up to 12 weeks prior to your preferred performance date. And this all goes without saying that if you don't complete all these different steps, then Disney will simply reject your application. So here are a few of my personal tips to help your application be successful. Number 1, make sure your material that you are submitting is no older than 1 year, and it should be representative in style and standard of what you intend to showcase at the parks. Therefore, your audition is your only tool for Disney to assess your group, and you should ensure that the quality and the content of your show is at its absolute best. And while Disney won't be expecting you to have access to Hollywood standard video and audio technology, I would suggest taking a moment or two to consider where you're recording your audition tape and the quality of the video and audio that is being captured, so you can really showcase the highlights of what your performance has to offer Disney on their stages in the best possible way. Now, if you're submitting a dance audition tape, the choreography must last for the duration of an entire track, no shorter than 3 minutes, and if it includes lyrics in the music, this must be suitable for a family environment. Disney also recommend that you create choreography that is suitable for the age and level of your group. They recommend simple and effective wins every single time. Don't try to make it too complicated. Keep the lines, spacing and blocking nice and clean. Plus, if you're intending to showcase tap, point work or acrobatics, these disciplines must appear in the audition material as well. And keep smiling and engage with your audience, because let's face it, if the performers are having a great time, then the audience are going to have a great time. So enjoy what you're doing, show that to the camera, let Disney see you love what you do. Lastly, with dance, make sure you avoid any real close-ups, give a nice overview of the entire routine, but obviously make sure the camera is close enough that you pick up every movement of the group. As for musical and vocal auditions, your choice of repertoire is key. Remember that upbeat and identifiable pieces are most enjoyable to the Disney fans. And again, your repertoire should be suitable for a family audience. Try not to play or sing anything too complicated. Be realistic about the ability of your performers. Keep solos to a minimum, as this is not representative of who you are as a group. And remember to smile, enjoy it, sell it, and shine. The same can be pretty much said for musical theatre auditions. Your repertoire is key. Keep it for a family environment. Make sure your choreography and your staging are age and level appropriate. Simple and effective are the best way to win your audition. Don't sing anything too complicated. Keep those solos to a minimum because they want to see what your group is all about. Remember to engage the audience and to keep your characterization strong throughout the entire performance. Basically, stay in your character even if at that moment you're not singing, dancing or acting. And of course, the last audition type, the marching bands, again, repertoire, keep it for a family. Don't make it too complicated. All your marches and additional movements should be clean and performed in time to the music. Keep your formation, lines and spacing uniform. Make sure the camera is placed so that it can pick up the specific movements of your group, and avoid too many close-ups. Plus, again, that old Disney line, enjoy it, sell it and shine. Now, I did joke earlier on about sending your audition in on a cheap pen drive. You can actually submit your audition tapes via digital video files. These can be sent using a number of free online file transferring services. Internet links that cannot be downloaded are not accepted. Make sure that you've labeled every file with your group name and title of the piece, and that every piece has a separate file. Don't send any promotional, show reels or adjudication videos. And of course, don't include any performance videos of people who are not going to be there on the day or performances you don't intend to perform. All of those things will end up with your application being rejected, which is not the aim of this podcast. We want you to be able to go and perform in one of the most magical places in Europe. Now, the reason I'm talking about this on this podcast is this opportunity is open to anybody. It is not limited to United Kingdom citizens or citizens of the EU. Anybody around the world can apply to take part in the workshops, or if you wanted to audition for the performing on stage, you can do that as well. So no matter where you are in the world, you could combine a trip to one of the most romantic cities in the world, experience the culture that France has to offer, go to the Eiffel Tower, take in the world-famous Versailles Palace, go and visit the Mona Lisa in the Louvre, with a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to perform on stage at the famous Mouse's French House. And actually, this brings back some memories of when I was a student back, so many years ago, way before Euro Disney had even opened, and we would go on a yearly school trip to France. We'd hop on a coach, go on a ferry because the tunnel wasn't even there then, and drive into Paris, where we would practice our French that we've been learning in the lessons all year long, buy some fromage, and weirdly, one of the things I remember is buying some Nutella in a glass jar because we couldn't buy that in England, and we would take that back home as a souvenir of our trip. But how much more magical could those trips have been had we have had that opportunity to go and perform on those Disney stages? Because I love musical theatre, I love lighting design, theatre design, I even chose theatre stage management for one of my qualifications. So therefore, had I have had that opportunity to go and perform on a Disney stage, would have been absolutely magical. But if you're a teacher or a group leader and you're looking for something truly unique to offer your students that takes in not only the culture of another country, but with this added unique opportunity included as well, this could be it for you. So therefore, if you're in Orlando right now, there is absolutely no reasons why you couldn't do this trip. If you're in California right now, there is no reasons why you couldn't do this trip. If you're in Asia right now and you're looking for something completely different for your students to go and do, there is no reason why you couldn't book a trip like this. And of course, you don't have to stress too much about the planning for this kind of adventure, because there are people in the world like me here at Fly Mickey Travel who are more than happy to help make this magic happen for you and your group. We are experts in putting all this together, and we can guide you through the workshop and the audition processes where needs be. And so that actually brings me to the end of a short Travel to the Magic podcast this week. I hope actually it's been of interest to some people out there, maybe a glimpse at something you didn't know that Disney could offer, and the possibilities, of course, are endless for anybody around the world to experience this. Please reach out to me at flymickey.com if you'd like to know more information about how you can book this amazing adventure for you and your group. And all that is left for me to say today is have yourself a musical, magical day.